So let's back up. My story, I've given it in full at times, but I want to summarize it here again quickly, is that I did play music as a girl. I played both, I was in choirs as well as in piano, but classical music in particular was never my passion. And part of it was that I had a very strong aversion to hitting the wrong note. So had I been more introduced to jazz when I was younger, maybe it was something that I would have taken to, or maybe not, you know. I was also a bit silly, didn't necessarily have much of a focus on important things when I was young. I feel like it was a little bit lost in the 80s and just what was the silliness that we thought was so important back then. And also many of the musicians that I saw, I never, ever, ever wanted to be. So I quit piano lessons when I was maybe about 13 and continued to be involved in choirs, but never really sang solo at all, except for one brief shining moment in high school, which I write about in a recent blog that I'm posting. It should be up by the time you hear this. And it's about a full circle moment because I sang Hotel California. This one moment when I was in high school, I was with all of the drama kids, completely unveiled my soul in that moment. I just was fearless. I didn't have any fear. It was just this little duet performance we just did for fun. But it was one of the first glimpses I had that I even really wanted to do this, because I was so out of touch with myself at that point. I had no idea how much I loved singing, how much I felt a calling to do that. I really didn't feel a calling at that point. So I would be involved with choirs. I would be singing here and there. I would be playing around on the piano I had 5 years of piano as a girl, and I would be playing around with it. But it wasn't until I was in college and I was around musicians a lot. The music scene was incredible at the time between College Station and Austin, and I would hear just incredible music, and I had friends that were in bands, and I realized that I wanted to do it, but I was so afraid of attention. I was so shy and so shut down, and my self-esteem was super low. So really, the only way I could do it, and I write about this in my blog, was to come to a place where I wanted it to be just between me and my creator. I wanted it to be at night and on the weekends, a way to kind of help keep me sane in a way, because I was out in the world with a 9-to-5 and just felt very lost, very confused. A lot of things were coming to fruition in the real world. I got slapped pretty hard with the real world, having come from a bit of a sheltered upbringing. So music at night on the weekends was my way of really starting this journey with God that I knew was important. I was wise enough to know that, I can say, even though there was many other decisions I was making that are hard to live with. My decision to do music, to pursue music as a source of worship for my creator, was absolutely a wonderful decision, one that I would never ever regret. And that is the idea of how can I keep from singing comes from that place. Because as lost as I was with many of the decisions I was making about trying to live in the world, in reality, there was something in me that knew, and a lot of it was because I hit such a low point in college at the Ramada Inn. Once again, I write about that in my blog, a story about coming full circle at this Ramada Inn in College Station, where I just hit rock bottom. Like many of the people around me were hitting their stride, right? They're getting ready to get out in life. They're having these careers, and I just was having a very hard time, both personally and because of things that circumstantially happened in my life at that time. So because I hit rock bottom, it became clear that the only thing that was important to me was trying to figure out this relationship with my creator, that it couldn't be about the people around me. And I'd been pretty betrayed and hurt at a pretty young age, pretty devastated. So music to me was about this relationship that I had faith in, that God does love us, that if you can get right with the Lord, that is your only chance in this world. Because if you are seeking for things in this world to make things right, if you're looking at the people around you to make it right, to love you enough, to encourage you enough, it just won't ever happen. The only place that you can get that can fill this missingness in your soul is to go to God. And so how can I keep from singing is that when you have that realization, how can you keep from singing? How can you not want to sing of this glorious, redemptive, amazing grace that is yours if you can open up to it, if you can invite it in, if you can say, sometimes, unfortunately, for many of us, we have to reach that rock bottom to say, you know what, I'm done with my agendas. I want yours. I want to align myself with your will. I want to find out what you want for me in this life. So that was the beginning of that. How can I keep from singing? And here it is many, many, many years later, like somewhere between 25 and 30 years later, that I'm still in that place. How can I keep from singing continues to grow. And I still am very much in need of grace. I'm still very much working on wisdom, in search of wisdom. But that has been my rock and my salvation, is my ability to go to God at night, on the weekends. In many cases, I've been lucky enough to actually have it be my career and to go to Him in the middle of those moments still, and it be about being between me and Him and me thanking Him for what He's done for me, for saving me, for forgiving me, for bringing me out of the depths of some of the things that I've been in the depths of, and for slowly building my self-esteem and my confidence and my identity, not in my own works, but in my ability to stay steadfast in this relationship with Him. And for me, using music, singing,